Views expressed are my own, or the opinions expressed here belong solely to me and do not reflect the views of my employer. My name is Chuck Banks, and you're listening to the Coaching Culture in Athletics Radio Broadcast Network affiliate, Dog Pound Radio, the Chuck Banks Experience. We are excited to bring you quality content here in Southeast Iowa, or do you call it North Lee County, Iowa? We are excited to bring you live engagements of sporting events and, you know what, bringing in some political leaders and some avenues to make Fort Madison and North Lee County the best it can possibly be. Dog Pound Radio, the Chuck Banks Experience on the Coaching Culture and Athletics Radio Broadcast Network. If you'd like to be a guest on us, email us, coachingcultureandathletics@gmail.com. That's coachingcultureandathletics@gmail.com. We have one sponsor, and it is Stan Schmidt's Turn 2 Workshop. Check out his stuff today on Facebook. Never seen a man use his hands so vividly to bring quality products. We're looking for other sponsors. We're looking for other content. We love you. Relax, sit back, and enjoy the show. Hey, I want to welcome everybody. I'm over on the recording component. Hope everyone has had a decent week. It's June 22nd, one day after we decided to bomb Iran, and I wanted to take just a moment, as a Gen Xer, as someone that kind of lived through, a lot of the atrocities of the Cold War, and man, couldn't clean my throat out there. What we have to understand is we cannot get our panties in a bunch, so to say, and basically start fear mongering and doing those sorts of things, which is only going to add to what we've been talking about for quite some time is your mental health and being able to cope with those stresses that kind of hit. I do want to take the time. I have. Let's see, I got to count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have seven more copies of Dog Mentality Story of Mediocrity Becoming Elite. And if you live in Lee County, Iowa, I'll just bring these to you for $15 signed. And I have 5 more of my newest book, which is my ADHD Adventure. And I do want to take a moment here before we get into the history lesson and that sort of stuff, right? I do want to take a moment to tell you what you can get in this book. Signs of Adult ADHD, a comprehensive review. When I started writing this book 6 years ago, I did so because I wanted to thoroughly have something that I could have in my hands, a plan, and I would be able to basically take notes, whatever. And the comprehensive plan, signs of having adult ADHD, to take a look at that. Then I go into chapter 2, which is coping with adult ADHD strategies, struggles, and self-compassion. I think most of the time, especially our significant others, if they don't understand the ADHD brain, it's you're not going to have that self-compassion and that reality. And as I've been more open, and I think that's probably one thing that has really changed my marriage and my parenting is to be more open, communicate, and just kind of allow yourself to have a little bit of self-compassion. Chapter 3, the dumb as enough mindset, deconstructing misconceptions around ADHD and burnout. And if you've taken a gander at what we've been talking about for weeks here on the Chuck Banks Experience, it's burnout. The very serious consequences that take place when you've hit that rock bottom when it comes to that. Tackling the dopamine problem in ADHD, a multi-dimensional approach. And what I'm talking about here is like the ADHD brain, man. It's like dopamine. You're always looking for the next piece of dopamine that you're going to be able to interact with. And a big thing that I've started doing, is when I get up, I don't go right to my phone. I've stopped that. I've shut off my phone in the evenings. And I get a good night's rest. I wake up, I go and I play with my beagles, which, by the way, the Chuck Banks Experience is broadcast Beagle Avenue. If you look behind me, if the lights are going a little flickering here, that's because of the light bulbs. The basement's not haunted, right? Okay, then I talk about, what about the dark side of ADHD? Why is it that there are so many addicts? There are so many people in prison, or whatever. When you look at ADHD and the anger issues that can sometimes circumvent. I talk about adult ADHD and self-medication causes, consequences, and solutions. If I've looked throughout the years, the amount of energy drinks, or whether it's 5 Hour Energy or whatever, and a lot of times what that does is that causes allows my brain to significantly decompress. But so I have a chapter about that. ADHD versus narcissism. And the reason, chapter 7 might be the topic of the day when we look at this, but ADHD versus narcissism. I've been called a narcissist in the past by family members. And it's not the greatest thing to call somebody that has ADHD, to call them a narcissist, because the overthinking, the over contemplating, the beating yourself up, the anger that comes from that. But anyway, I spend an entire chapter discussing the differences of it. And again, writing this book, it helped me. I hope it helps those that are out there reading it themselves. Why are you making it about you all the time? There's another genre that I've had family members, I've had friends. Man, why are you making it about you? Why are you interrupting? Why do you have a story about every damn thing that you're articulating? Well, at the end of the day, folks, that's how my brain interacts. And this is one of those things: navigating ADHD and perceived self-centeredness in relationships. The next one, again, bridging the silence, repairing a relationship with an estranged adult child through the lens of ADHD. And again, I see it all the time on social media, and I follow some people, and I agree and I disagree, where they say that, if a child has cut ties with you, that it's always the adult parent's fault. I can see some of those generalities, but not altogether. And again, that self-healing thing that I've had to work with the last 6 or 7 years, and it's been over a year since she shut off contact for the second time, and hopefully she'll get to listen to this, and maybe she'll realize that the old man, he wasn't a narcissist. He just had ADHD qualities, and he was learning as he went as a parent. The next one, loving with ADHD, strengthening your marriage when one partner has ADHD. Um, yeah, that one was a real struggle for a long, long time. When you look and articulate, and sometimes you're like you're bitching and moaning about little things. It's just the way that the brain works, right? An example would be, we need to have a chat, and this could work even at work. Uh, that sounded stupid, but anyway, so we need to have a chat. No, we don't need to have a chat. Just come in and tell me what the hell's going on, because if I have to sit and overthink every little detail and think about those things, it just bogs you down. ADHD and the negative effects of parenthood, challenges, impacts, and support strategies. And if you notice that I'm trying to give, positive strategies, and to be able to engage and allow, answers, to basically open up a line of communication so you can look at that. Why am I exhausted, and why do I shut down? Boom. Okay, so the last 2 or 3 months. It's been a struggle for me to get out of bed. Um, it's been a struggle. Like I always have the intentions where I think to myself, I've got this great podcast idea. I'm going to discuss things. And, if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, be sure to check out, the Chuck Banks Experience on Spotify. And, it's, you'll have some extra additions or extra information because we're pre-recording the live episode now, but I also have been doing thoughts like if I'm out on the road, and I have this idea or something that pops in my head, it allows me to basically share a little bit more when you when you look at the brain, right? um, Making masking and mental exhaustion the cost of pretending to be okay. That's probably something that has affected myself for years. And I you know how when certain people they get angry and you think what, they're probably a narcissist because they're not just burning the bridge, they're blowing the son of a buck up, right? And anyway, it kind of it gives you that task, of masking and mental exhaustion, and it just it can destroy you. Done is enough. How perfectionism fuels burnout and why letting go heals. It's okay. It's okay. Put stuff out there, whether you're podcasting, writing, whatever. It's okay to have the naysayers saying you suck. That's okay because that's their opinion, right? But the ADHD brain, when that happens, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? Now I've got to articulate, I've got to change the entire facet and the multifaceted aspect of the writing, whatever. Sometimes you just got to let go and let things play out the way they're going to play out. Defeating Burnout with ADHD, a tailored survival guide. This is in my book, and I've left enough room where you can take notes, highlight whatever, as you look at that. Defeating ADHD with restorative rest, and the difference between like you're masking and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get an hour now. But restorative rest is definitely something that we need to look at. Defeating ADHD with self-awareness. I think the first win that I ever had was stipulating that, you know what, I have a problem and I probably better research it because that's the way my brain works. Anytime that I see something, by the way, anytime that somebody's posting something on social media, even myself, or, where I'm articulating strategies, or, I put out blanket statements because I want information. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm giving myself this self-awareness to take ownership. Owning the Journey with ADHD in Adulthood. And this book, again, is 6 years of work. I've sold 5 of them. They're $20 a piece, and that's mailed to you. Or I can deliver them. I can hand deliver them. I've done that in the past. If you buy this book for $20 and then you also want Dog Mentality, I'll throw it in for 10. So you get 2 books for $30. And I think it's a hell of a deal. So check that out if you're interested. Now back to Gen X. Gen X is getting older. We're nearing retirement. Again, every generation, especially up until now or whatever, that's being born or whatever, every generation has its challenges and its retrospect. And as a Gen Xer, as a parent, one thing that I noticed that I got wrong, especially early on as a parent, was that I was like, "You're going to do this because I said so," or you get angry over certain things or certain ways that certain words that you throw out there that you probably shouldn't, and you don't realize that those they bite. And I see it all the time with my constituents or the olders. I apologize with that stupid blinking light, but I, it's kind of like this. It's the way it's always been done. That's the way it is, right? Whereas in today's generation, when you look at information that is instant, it's that instant set of self satisfaction or self gratification. I think the changing of the guard Okay, and changing how you parent or how you interact with people is is okay. I think I read somewhere recently that if you explain everything um, like everyone is a sixth grader, that we're not going to have that miscommunication or a missed chance or missed opportunity to improve, especially as a parent. And again, kind of back, I've rambled a little bit, but, with that, they're like, oh my God, this generation, oh my God, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. And, that's not the way, we were parented. That's not, okay. The world that we lived in is gone. It's evaporated. It's changed. It's shifted. It's gone. So we have to interact with society differently. It's evolve or die, man. If it's as simple as that. It's evolve or die. And you know, I look at my issues, my own personal issues and things like that, and I think I've evolved. I think I've shifted to a positive mannerism, and I think I've evolved. And but the sad thing is sometimes mental health experts out there will tell your children that maybe it's just easier to cut ties, and to not give that benefit of the benefit of a doubt. Communicating. Communication will destroy or it will improve every aspect of your life, and that's where if I ever did anything as a father that burnt so bad that you were always afraid to ask for or to communicate in the most minute detail, then man, I didn't do a good job, but I've improved. And I again, there's a lot of people that are out there that are like, man, how do you get through a day knowing that you have three grandchildren, you have a son-in-law, and you have a daughter that have cut ties and have not communicated with you zilch in over a year. And I'll tell you that I put on a mask a lot. I hurt. I have anxiety from it. And then, that anxiety, it's kind of like a springboard. It's kind of like dealing with death. Like my parents, both my parents are gone, man. And, that's something you never get over. And when an adult child does it, it's much and then the same. And then if there's grandchildren involved, it's even worse. But I'll tell you that I'm doing the best I can. Um, I'm consistently focusing on trying to figure out how to heal me because I'll tell you, maybe the greatest piece of advice of today, maybe your aha moment from today will be, you know what? Um, if if anything, you have to learn to love yourself before you can love others. And if you don't put yourself first, and I'm not saying that arrogantly, if you do not put yourself first, then you're not going to be able to be there effectively, especially if you suffer from ADHD and you've been masking for a long, long time, right? That aspect where worst case scenario, there's thousands of worst case scenarios running in your brain right now, and 99.7% of anything that you're going to worry about is going to uh, mean anything. And and again, that's something that's important to take a look at, man. Myself, as a coach, and I say this all the time with my players. Yeah, at the end of the day, you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself at the very end of the day, did you get better today? Did you become a better father? Did you become a better husband? Did you become a better friend? Did you become a better freaking human? Did you see a piece of trash and did you pick that sucker up? And if you do that, and then also if you wake up in the morning and you say, thank you, God, for allowing me another day, another opportunity because I'll tell you, as a dad that suffers from ADHD, that's maybe not made all the right calls and decisions in my life. I'm never ever ever going to give up, and I'm never ever ever going to stop loving my children, no matter what, no matter what. And when you live in that congregation, it is extremely important.